When I was a boy, I loved parades. I liked the colors and the pageantry, the music, the candy corn. I loved all the energy. In the middle of the best parades, of course, there's a central figure. Christmas parades, Santa Claus. 4th of July, Uncle Sam. My favorite parade growing up was a little-known parade that was based around the celebration of the Grapefruit League. That's when all of the baseball players came south, of course, to Florida to play for a whole month. And if you were a little guy like me who liked baseball, that was the cat's meow of parades. At the beginning of the season, Orlando sponsored all of the players and teams to come to downtown. Some of us came south. I came with my Little League team. The best were there. Sandy Koufax, Roger Maris, Mickey Mantle, Don Drysdale. They all rode in convertible cars on Magnolia Avenue, downtown, with bands and flags and wonderful food. In those days, a little person could go right up to the major league players and get autographs. I took my baseball, went with my Little League team, and I was beelining it towards Don Drysdale, my favorite pitcher of the Dodgers. Went to him, "Mr. Drysdale, would you autograph my baseball?" Had pen ready. He asked my name, talked with me for a moment, signed my ball. I was thrilled. I went running back to my Little League team, showed them my baseball. It had been signed by Don Drysdale. It said, "To my good friend Steve, good luck in baseball." When I was growing up, I loved parades. We joined with Christians around the world for another kind of parade called Palm Sunday, Passion Sunday today. Oh, to be sure, Jesus is not high-stepping it on a white stallion, which they expected if you were the follower of David. He meagerly and humbly rode on a donkey down from Bethpage and Bethany, down through the Kidron Valley into the Old City. We're told by historians that there would have been at least 2 million people in and around Jerusalem during the Passover. Some of them saw in Jesus the Messiah that they had been expecting for generations, the one who was to come into the world and offer not only leadership and peace, but overthrowing this ruthless Roman government. Some of his band, of course, saw in him this hope, this fulfillment. So they threw their garments on his donkey and waved branches and palms along the way, saying, "Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. Praised be the new Messiah." Little did Jesus know, and that they knew, that the same ones who were providing all the adulations in the cry of Hosanna would be the very ones who would be part of the crowd who would be calling for his head on Friday. Just as we said as a congregation, "Crucify, crucify him." It's a stunning shift in human emotion, reminding us that the human spirit can be fickle. We can be on one side one week and another the next. And so we join Christians around the world to remember this particular kind of parade when the ending is a severe ending. In Dallas, Texas, in 1963, there was a similar kind of reality. A young, vibrant president and his beautiful, stunning wife got off the plane in Love Field. They got into a Cadillac convertible, and they were driven through downtown Dallas We understand that they were 4 or 5 thick on both sides, waving flags, shouting out praise as they were driving through those streets of Dallas. There was a particular person named Mr. Zapruder who took his 8mm camera to this great parade. He stationed himself towards what was going to be the end of the parade, now we know as the grassy knoll. He took that 8mm camera and he began shooting the most famous film of this parade. It's only 26 seconds long, but it captures all the way in that swing as that vibrant president and his beautiful wife came swinging around the corner in that convertible. You and I can see it in our mind's eye. We've seen this film over and over and over again. Comes in to view beneath the grassy knoll. And then to everyone's horror, then that vibrant president's head snapped back. And they realized that he had been shot. And then in that film, that convertible zooming off underneath the bridge below the grassy knoll. You and I see that film over and over again. And in our mind's eye, every time we see it, we want the ending to be different, don't we? We want the person in that 4th floor of the book depository to slip and miss with that gun. We want the car to be just a little slower or a little faster, or for the Secret Service officer to get there sooner, or for Jackie Kennedy to pull her husband closer to her in that moment. Every time we see that film, we want the ending to be different, you see. But we know how it ends. We do the same thing on Palm Sunday. We come here year after year. We gather, we wave palms, we hear the narrative, we join in with the rest of Christendom around the globe. And each year we, in our way, say to ourselves, I want the ending to be different this time. I want Judas to have a change of heart instead of putting Jesus into being arrested. I want Peter to have more bravery. I want Pilate to not wash his hands this time. I want him to have some spine and to hold up to the crowd. We want it to be different, don't we? We want the ending to be shifted. But we know how it ends. So we ask ourselves again this Palm Sunday, this Passion Tide, how will you and I respond? Will we just simply wave some palm branches and throw our leaflet into the trash at the end and just move on as if nothing has happened, nothing's changed? Could it be that we would also sink lower and be part of the cynicism that's in our world these days that's causing division and hardship? Could it be that you and I are ready to get off of the sidelines where we're not just a spectator waving branches, but we're ready to enter into the story? Perhaps this is the year when you and I will take a big step of faith into engaging ourselves more fully in the way of the cross and the way of resurrection. How did God respond? The Apostle Paul, in his letter to the Philippians, says it this way: God did not count equality with God a thing to be grasped, but emptied divine life, taking the form of a servant. And being found in that form, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even death on a cross. How did Jesus respond? By offering passion. The Latin word passio, which means suffering love. Jesus offered suffering love, a severe mercy, as he took hold of that donkey that day and rode into the old city, knowing in his heart of hearts that this was going to have a tragic ending at the end of the week, but that there was going to be overwhelming grace. There's a prayer that we say at the end of this week. It's in the Good Friday liturgy, probably the best prayer I've ever heard penned. It reads, Jesus, set your passion between judgment and our souls now and in the hour of our death. Where did Jesus put his passion? He put it on the line. He put it in the gap. He put it in your heart. He put it in our minds. Jesus places his passion on the margins, with the outcasts, with the immigrants, with those who hurt, with those who've had relationships that have fallen apart. Jesus puts his passion on the line in your vocation, and you're getting up in the morning, and you're raising kids, and you're raising grandkids. Jesus puts his passion on the line in your worst days, when you feel like you've been cut off, when you've lost your hope, when you've lost your way. Jesus places his suffering love, his severe mercy, right down on your heart and your will, mine as well. So I asked this Palm Sunday, where do you and I place our passion, our suffering love, our severe mercy in a world that's desperate for suffering love and a severe mercy? After Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in 1865, Ford's Theater, they placed his body in a casket. They determined that they needed to have a parade, a train parade, a cortege. They placed his casket on that rail car in downtown Washington, and they were going to weave that train slowly, ever so slowly, through numbers of states so that people could be beside that parade by the tracks as it weaved its way out of Washington up the northeast seaboard. And it was going to end over in Springfield, Illinois, for his burial. When it got to Albany in New York, it was slowing down. There beside the rail car with throngs of people was an African-American woman, an older woman. She had been freed in the Underground Railroad during the Civil War. She was there with the throngs. She moved towards the front. Tears began to stream down her face. She had her grandbaby in her arms. This elderly African-American freed woman then raised her grandbaby up as that casket came close. And she said to her grandbaby, "Take a good look, honey. He died for your liberation and your freedom. Take a good look, honey. That man died for your liberation and your freedom." In a larger venue, across every shore, in every time, with every people, including us, you and I could say in a much larger way with that wonderful African-American woman a long time ago, "Take a long look, honey. He died for your freedom and your liberation." Amen.